Rules for me and not for thee. Chicago mayor bans protesters, but only on her block. Right. So this is the world we live in. I have rules, but they're only for me. But there's separate rules for you plebes out there, for you, I don't know, gutter dwellers, if you will. That's how Mayor Lori Lightfoot thinks of Chicago and its denizens. Of course. This is par for the course for the far left. And she is evil incarnate. Flat out. Chicago Mayor Lightfoot banned protesters, but only on her block where she lives, citing safety concerns for her family and her due to daily threats. You know what's funny? There's daily threats to many of the people that live in Chicago constantly, day after day, week after week, month after month, and yes, year after year. But do you see her actually trying to stop the violence in Chicago? No. Now, she says she's concerned about it, and you've seen some statements where she said, yes, I care about the deaths of young children, but that's about it. She just says, my heart is breaking, blah, 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 blah. But what happens to her? Nothing. She just keeps on keeping on. Getting, back when the COVID was, really, inundated into society. I mean, it still is, but when she says, you can't go out and get a haircut. And then she goes, well, I can do it because, reasons. Because I'm in front of the press all day and I need to look good. But you people out there who work in menial jobs, not like a high-profile job like I have, you can't get a haircut. And if you do get a haircut, you're trying to kill people. Imagine that. A tyrant such as Lori Lightfoot telling you that you can't do an activity that's normal because of safety concerns. And especially this now where you can't protest in front of her house because of safety concerns for her family and her due to daily threats. Businesses are being burned down and looted in Chicago. And what does she do? Tell the police to stand down. From the post-millennial, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot banned protesters, but only on her block where she lives, citing safety concerns, blah, blah, blah. Lightfoot claimed that her particular need for heightened security is special, not because of her office, but because of the numerous threats she receives on a daily basis against her wife, her home, and herself. Imagine that. You're in a deep, deep blue city and a deep blue state. Well, probably northern Illinois. Maybe the rural parts are not necessarily blue. They're more purple, reddish. But let's think about this for a second. To get a gun in Chicago or even Illinois, it's hard. Very hard. If you didn't have one to begin with and you brought it into Illinois, let's say you moved there. Very hard. Extremely hard. It's one of the deadly, what they call the evil 7 states in the Union, where it's as Illinois is a may issue state, like a concealed carry permit. I think you can still buy weapons, but it's really hard. So to her to say that, well, I need special security because of threats. Okay. But who are making these threats? Definitely isn't conservatives. Conservatives aren't doing that. Maybe they are. But let's think about this. For the most part, the people that live in Chicago are violent anarchists, violent Antifa members, and violent Black Lives Matter people. Those are the people that are making the threats against Lori Lightfoot. It's not people like me. I don't like her politics. It's not necessarily I don't like her personally. I don't like her politics. She's a fucking tyrant. So Lightfoot said, I think that the residents in this city, understanding the nature of the threats that we are receiving on a daily basis, understand I have the right to make sure that my home is secure. What about all the people that live in Chicago right now that are being murdered on a weekly basis? Don't they deserve the right for their home to be secure? Like Fourth Amendment, right for your home, your papers, and your property to be secure? Yeah, that's for, unreasonable searches and seizures, but the sentiment still stands. She says that she has a right to feel secure. What about all the people in Chicago that aren't secure in their home on a daily basis, being pummeled with bullets by drive-bys on a weekly basis? What about them? Oh, that's right. Fuck them, right? That's how you think, Lori Lightfoot? You're a stupid twat. The order, which came to light from an email made public in July, requires police to clear the block on which Lightfoot and her wife live and to arrest anybody who won't leave immediately. Huh. So let me get this straight. You can't just walk down that street because she deems it safe or deems it for a safety concern. Huh. So you can't freely move in the city. You should be able to move anywhere you want on a public thoroughfare. Why can't you move there? Oh, because Lori Lightfoot decreed, because she's the mayor. She says that, yeah, you can't come around here. Why not? See, this is where the tyrants of the Democratic Party come full circle. This is how they are. The order as it read doesn't distinguish at all between peaceful protesters or violent ones. Interesting. This is despite Lightfoot frequently stating in public that she supports any and all peaceful protesters. According to the order, all protesters are to be treated in the same manner. Not in front of her house, apparently. Lightfoot also recently famously backpedaled on the issue, allowing federal agents into Chicago sent by U.S. President Donald Trump. Now, understand that order, they weren't patrolling the streets. From what I understand, these agents were actually stationed at the police departments where they actually did paperwork so the people that were on desk duty could go out and patrol the streets. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not. Can't really get a good answer, but we'll leave it at that. This order is almost without precedent, something similar only having happened right after the election of ex-President Barack Hussein Obama in 2008, where access to the block where he used to live in Kenwood was temporarily shut down. There seems to be a pattern here with Democrats and their leftist ideologues. It's also not a secret that Chicago police appear to be very disgruntled. They're not gruntled, they're very disgruntled by the current state of things. More than one police officer has taken his own life in the course of this year, including former deputy police chief. At one point, activists and spectators have reported seeing an armored vehicle brought in to control protests at the corner of Kimball and Wrightwood Avenues. The protest at the time was described by all who witnessed it as peaceful. Imagine that. You have the potential president, hopefully he doesn't get in, Joe Biden saying, why are the police militarized? They shouldn't have an armored vehicle. While I do necessarily agree with that statement, why do the police need it? Okay, why does Lori Lightfoot have a goddamn armored vehicle outside her residence? Oh, it's because of the peaceful protests. If they're peaceful protests, why do you need an armored vehicle within earshot of your home? Seems you would think that these protesters are not necessarily peaceful. Because if it's a peaceful protest, you wouldn't need police intervention. Let's look at Portland right now. Ted Wheeler's begging the violent protesters and rioters to stop and take a break. Ted Wheeler's an idiot. Lori Lightfoot's an idiot. Let's look at Mayor Jenny Durkin in Seattle. Same thing. Oh, it's going to be Summer of Love. Was it a summer of love? No, it wasn't. It was a summer of death and destruction and violence and riots and destruction of property. So when we come around November 3rd or whenever your elections, for the federal elections and state and local elections, if you keep voting Democrat for people to be in office, you get everything you deserve. You deserve more riots, more violence, more death, more destruction, more loss of your rights. Everything else you deserve. The Republicans are not perfect at all. However, I will vote Republican straight down the ticket, and I don't care what their politics are. I'm going to vote. Why? Because there's not a third viable candidate out there. Even if there was, I'm not going to vote a Libertarian Party. They're insane. Even though I'm a small L libertarian, I'm not going to vote Libertarian Party. They're going to say the Constitution Party? No. The Green Party? Yeah, no. You need to vote Republican to show that, yes, we'll give you the reins of the government, Republicans, but the very fucking minute you violate our rights, I will vote the opposite next time. But let's look back at Lori Lightfoot. She's a goddamn tyrant. And the people who voted for her deserve all what she brings onto your city. If it's death and destruction, so be it.